tutorial, we're going to talk about creating a new scene. We're actually going to create a new scene. And so this animation, when it plays through it, let me skip towards the end a little bit more, and it plays to the end of this timeline here, and this, you'll notice this is called scene 1, and you could change the name of that scene if you want. And when it gets to the end of this scene, it gets to the end. And if we were to go control test and output this as if it was a real video, it would get to the end and it would loop. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new scene, and then we'll make it stop at the end of that. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is go Window, Scene. Okay, we need this window here, and we're going to create a new scene. So we have scene 1, and if we hit this little add scene button, this little plus sign, we'll have a new scene. And we're just gonna, I just want to show you how you could label this. So I double click to get in there, and I'll say credits. I'll write credits. Okay, and so we are going to create a second layer. The first layer, I'm going to drag a black box and make sure there's no outline. And I'm going to zoom out. Let's see how we could zoom out. We could do this and go to 75%. And I'm going to drag a black rectangle across the whole scene. It's just what I want for my credit scene. Then I'm going to lock this layer. And then I'm going to use this button here to create a new layer. And then I'm just going to type my credits. And I'm going to make sure that I use white for my color. I could change it here or here. So I'm going to go ahead and change it here this time. And I am going to click and start typing. Let's see, the text is very small. My properties window, I could see that I'm using Times Regular, and the point size is 12. I'm going to increase that up to, say, 72. Okay, and then I will come into here and write credits. Okay, and then I am going to, on the same layer, create a second text box. You could have kept it in the same text box, I suppose. And I will say animator, Mr. Corbin. And then I'll say artist, Mr. Corbin. Okay, and then what else did we have in here? You know, I'm going to say programmer, because we are going to write some code in here. And you could create any, you know, visual effects, artist, or whatever, visual effects, Mr. You can put whatever you want on here. And let's, I'm going to space it out. And I'm going to pretend as if I had a bunch of different jobs. So I'm just going to, instead of typing them all out, I'm going to copy and paste to make this list really long. And so let's zoom out and see how long my list is. Let's go to 50%. And so I have my list like this. I'm going to center this text just by moving it over. Okay, and then I'm going to motion tween all this. But first, let me, I'm going to go ahead and move this down lower. I'm using the arrow keys was going too slow, so I'm just going to drag it all down. And then we're going to do a motion tween. So let's just make this a, it says right here, this is 5 seconds. I could see the 5S. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to just right click or control click and say insert frame for now. And then, so the black rectangle is there, and I'm going to write text over here so we know what's what. And then I'm just going to motion tween this, okay? But, yeah, we'll motion tween it. And then we'll say, so I'm going to go right click, control, create, motion tween. And we know this will pop up, say yes. And then I come to the end here, and I'm just going to go ahead and move this straight up. I'm using this shift and up arrow to move this faster. And then I will make a new layer, and on the last keyframe, I'm going to control click and say insert keyframe or blank keyframe, and I'm just going to write the end. The end. okay? And I want to make it stop at this frame, because when we play the movie currently, it'll get all the way to the end and it'll loop back to the beginning. But if we want it to stop here, we are going to actually implement some code. So I'm going to make a new, let's just say, let's label this one the end. Okay, and then, okay, I'm not sure what I clicked. Okay, and then so I'm going to make a new one, and I'm going to call this actions. Actions. Okay, and so here I'm going to control click and put a blank keyframe, and we are going to open an actions window. That's why I labeled this actions. So go window, and where is actions? Right here, F9. And we can write something in here. We could write a bit of code. And the code I'm going to write is simple. Stop, but we need these parentheses and a semicolon. Okay? That is the first code we've written in Animate, and it tells it to stop on that last frame. Okay? So let's go ahead and save this. I push Control S. Let's go Control Test, and it's going to play through the whole animation, and when it gets to the credits, it will freeze on that very last frame that says the end. At least I hope it does. Let's see. So we have the sun coming up, the trees going by, and then the moon's next. Okay, and then he's going to get to the house, and then it should jump to the second scene after this, which is just the credits. So it should jump immediately to the credit scene. We have the motion tween, and then the end, and it froze on that last frame. Okay? And that's it. Go ahead and do that. If we want to, we could create a button that says watch again, and we could play that, and that would be in another tutorial. So as of now, have fun creating your credit scene and your first stop action. Have fun.